Yo, it is Wednesday, my dudes. Ooh. Ooh. Hey, feels good. Feels good, don't it? We back. Top story tonight. Warhammer Age of Sigmar. Getting a new GHB, a General's Handbook. Yeah, there's news in my Age of Sigmar in this economy? Holy shit. Well, it's true. I tried to avoid seeing these because I'm going to be a React Andy on this one because I think that's maybe more fun. I did, you just can't help but pick up a detail here or there if you're on Twitter and Discord and everybody else's Discord and on the internet for your whole life, right? But I haven't seen the screenshots of it. I've just seen people talking about some of them. And I made a tweet about what I assumed to be the case. I hope it was right. Returns to Wednesday. We're getting more Milkies to bring back to HeyWoah Classic. Oh yeah, I gotta order some from Amazon. I get like bricks of 24. They bring it to my house in a forklift. And then I drink like 17 of them a day and then they're just fucking gone. Strawberry Milkies. Ooh, so good. Let's talk about veteran infantry take sentry stage in the new General's Handbook. Alright, let's go. After a year of beatdowns from behemoths. Disagree. There were exactly, I want to say 3 to 5 months of behemoth beatdowns, and then shooting just became the best thing to do again. Shooting an Alpha Strike. Not necessarily all monsters. I mean, everybody played a big monster, sure, but for the most part, monsters smashed through the gates, and just dominated everything for 3 months or something, and then the meta adapted, and then they were fine. Even the SOB. SOB actually got kind of taken down a few pegs already, and they're just okay at this point. The meta was able to very surprisingly shift. Get the meme buttons ready. Oh, they are. So kind of disagree. Matched play shifting gears in Warhammer Age of Sigmar as the General's Handbook Pitch Battle Profiles 22-23 Season 1 comes to pre-order this weekend, alongside, by the way, Skaven and Sylvan F. 3 books, 1 weekend. Can we just enhance? There we go. This new tome shifts the focus from the savage wilds of Thatia to the serpentine tunnels and plunging ravines of its neighboring continent, Galette, or Gallet. I'm going to call this Gillette. The Splintered Face. Here's what you can expect in the coming season. The infantry war begins. Oh, war had been declared? Murderously inclement weather batters the plains of Gillette. Roaring winds strong enough to scatter whole armies. Those who wish to avoid these punishing storms must use the continent's endless network of tunnels. But these gloomy grottos teem with swarming ratfolk and insectoid, ghoulish predators.
Pop? Yeah.
Insectoid, ghoulish predators, huh? Insect race? Confirmed? Oh, we got an asterisk. I guess we'll have to read about it. I will. We're cutting ahead. Cutting in line. Whoa, this is a big article. Gallia's bugs range from the fist size to the unimaginably huge, the spider fang grots. Love it. Okay, so no real info, but maybe a little teaser. Maybe a little teasy. And before spider grots. Yeah, beast claw, we don't care about storms. We're used to it. No big deal. To protect themselves from such critters, caravans and traveling armies employ masters of the splintered land, seasoned veterans, who know how to navigate these twisting pathways and fend off their brutal bugs. Alright, special rule. Is this just a purple special rule, like everybody gets this? Masters of the splintered land. Friendly battle line units that have a wounds characteristic of 4 or less do not have mounts. Gain the Gelatin Veterans keyword. Alright. Oh, damn. So, okay. Every battle line unit in the game with a wounds characteristic of 4 or less is now a Gelatin Veteran. A veteran of the Jelly Wars. What does that do? Your battle line units will now gain the Gelatin keyword. If they're small enough to squirm into the tunnels anyway, this means no mounts and no one with too many wounds, marking a shift away from the supremacy of alpha strikes and amazing long-ranged fire. Oh, wait. Well, I guess beasts. Each battle round, the player going second gets to pick an objective to be the Proving Grounds, as the confusing caverns and treacherous pits of Gillette shift in a way that can only be navigated by gelatin. Yeah, because they squeeze through. Alright. Until the end of the round, other units can't contest that objective at all. Oh, sweet. So you get to define a spot on the table and you're just like, we fight over this now? That's cool. I like that. As you recall from the old GHB, it was you'd choose a objective to just straight remove from the table, which caused some interesting decisions during priority, even after you won or your opponent won. But it generally ended the game right there, usually. Proving Ground's pretty cool, too. Until the end of the battle round, other units can't contest it. Okay, so I assume you're, like, choosing, okay, this unit and that one. And you get to fight. Cool. Proving Grounds. At the start of each battle round, after the players have determined who will take the first turn, the player who will take the second turn can pick one objective on the battlefield to be the Proving Ground until the end of the battle round. The same objective cannot be picked as the Proving Ground more than once per battle. Oh, it's every time. Ooh. This isn't just like the turn 3 thing. This is every time. Oh, very interesting. I must have skimmed it before and I was just thinking, okay, that's the prime objective. You know, this is the one you take off turn. No, this is every turn. Same objective cannot be picked as the Proving Ground more than once per battle, so you have a little bit of thinking ahead to do there. And you're going to have a little bit of a, ooh, I'll choose this one because right now it doesn't really matter, but on turn 4 it might really matter, so I'm just going to choose it right away so that my opponent can't later on. There's some fun, like, decision points to have here. If there's only 2 or 3 objectives on the table, obviously they'll run out right away, but that's okay. This is cool. Only models in units with the Gelatin Veterans keyword can contest. Oh, okay, okay. So, essentially only battle line units can contest an objective marked with the Proving Ground. So that means, let's pretend I'm playing Beast Claw and I have a bunch of Mournfang, right? Like I have 2 Frost Lords and a million Mournfang, so nobody's Gelatin. So on that turn, even if I kill all the guys there, I just can't capture it at all. Because I can't contest it. And I think contesting means not just if the opponent's there, right? SOB players are out of luck? Bro, all of the Mega Gargants are battle line, it's fine. Stonehorn Beast Riders, battle line. Oh no, wait, they have more than 4 wounds. Never mind, press F. Press F to pay respects to my army and also SOB. It's a dark day. It's a dark day.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer. Every night.
Yeah, very interesting though. This rule opens up a huge range of tactical ploys. I think so too. Well, I don't know about a huge range, but it gives you something to think about, which is fun. Perhaps you'll lure your opponent's battle line into an ambush by picking a tempting but treacherous Proving Ground. Maybe you'll ward off your enemy's biggest monsters by leaving them unable to contest a nearby objective this turn. It's gonna be that one. Yep, it's that one. It's the second one. It is the second one. Fighting shoulder to shoulder in cramped conditions also forges tight bonds of battle. Can love bloom on the battlefield? When your Gelatin Veterans attack in melee, they can target enemies within a ½ inch of a nearby model in their unit, helping battle line warriors with larger bases. So good. Yes, please. Oh, can I just say that measuring melee ranges wastes a shitload of time, and this is the next step towards getting rid of it entirely, which I don't know. I've long been a fan. I think it's just a huge time waster, to be perfectly honest. But that's just me. Helping battleline warriors with larger bases, such as Stormcast Eternals and Ogre Gluttons. We got the call out. We got them. It's us. Avoid getting bogged down at the choke points. Big protectors. Okay. Using the proper version of them. You mean this will just result in you never seeing BCR, Gargants, FEC, and maybe even Iron Jaws anymore? Iron Jaws have, wait, 5 wounds for Gorgruntas? You know, that one rule that brutes have is pretty good in a potential metagame future, right? Where one wound guys can't capture anymore. Like, brutes, you messin rule is looking kind of good. Their you messin rule is going to be changed to be called UT posin. You posin? The bonds of battle. When a model in a Gelatin Veteran's unit makes an attack with a melee weapon, you can target an enemy unit within a half inch of another model from the Gelatin's Veteran instead of using the weapon's ranged characteristic for that attack. If you do, the attacking model must be within a half inch of another model from its own unit. Yeah, 2 ranks. This is word salad, and it was probably going to have to be word salad, like, to explain it with the rules, but it's 2 ranks. That is awesome for a lot of people. And anyone that it would be annoying for, just ignore the rule and use their superior range anyway, like 3-inch range, wardens or something like that. I mean, every warden basically got to fight before, and every warden still gets to fight. It doesn't hurt that many. It just helps out some other people. 2-rank meta, yeah. I'm liking this. Yeah, Skeleton Spears get their 2 inches back. The Skaven dudes get their 2 inches back for a second time, I guess. But that makes it a strange battle tome rule, but I guess these are only temporary, right? Yeah, it's 4 or less. Ogres are in this, as are Bruets. With the Skaven rule, they get better than this already. And they get better than this forever, and not just in this season. So there's that. This rule combines particularly well with an Overwhelming Assault. Activated at the end of your charge phase, this new command ability? Let's fucking go. Allows your massive Gelatin Veterans to pin down and exterminate smaller enemy units by inflicting the Strike Last effect. Ooh. Alright. You can use this command ability at the end of your charge phase. The unit that receives the command must be a Gelatin Veterans that has 10 or more models. Pick one enemy unit within 1 inch of that unit that has a wounds characteristic of 4 or less, and roll a die. If the roll is greater than the number of models in the enemy unit, the Strike Last effect applies. Okay. So this is something to use against, like, 3 Annihilators or something, right? Maybe. I don't see this being very useful. It's not like you can target monsters or something with it, right? You have to pick an enemy unit that has a wounds characteristic of 4 or less. I don't know. Is this a nothing? I'm tempted to say this is kind of nothing. And it has to be well under 6 models in the unit. Could it do it to a foot hero? If the foot hero had 4 wounds, like it was a Fungoid Cave Shaman or something, yeah. But a Fungoid Cave Shaman was going to do 0 damage if he fought every combat for 5 entire battle rounds. So it was like, it doesn't matter if he fights last. Yeah, I think Overwhelming Assault is overwhelmingly disappointing. But that's okay, because striking last is kind of toxic anyway. The thing that this hurts is like 3 Annihilators or something like that. Who, you have 2 units of 3 Annihilators, they drop down and fuck someone up. And now it's the opponent's turn and you're getting countercharged, and then they have a high chance of fighting last. If they're being double charged, if they're getting into 2 combats at once or something. Underwhelming Assault. I think we called it. Yeah, that's fine. Everything doesn't have to be a hit. The realm rules for Gillette also include 2 new core battalions. Expert Conquerors are more accomplished at holding objectives than most, while Bounty Hunters specialize in gutting up opposing armies. They deal extra damage in melee when targeting enemies. Gelatin Veterans. Extra damage, you say? Ooh. Technically, once Chadhammer lands, a 10-man unit will lose some to mortals, so it might not work. Well, Crypt Shadow, what I was thinking is the Annihilators with big hammers land, and then they charge, and whatever they charged is entirely dead. And then on the opponent's turn, the Annihilators get countercharged by some other thing. That's kind of what I was thinking, anyway. Can we say it more like Italian and get some animated hand gestures, like gelato, like that ice cream stuff, you mean? It's not really ice cream, but you know what I mean. Alright. Expert Conquistadors, Dominant Force. These warriors exude an aura of dominance. Damn. Gelatin Veteran units only. Each model in this battalion counts as 3 models for the purposes of contesting objectives. Big. Okay, cool. Alright. Is this better than Hunters of the Heartlands? Because Roar is still going to exist in this world. So this is the battalion that you take if you're playing locally against the Sons of Behemoth player and you want to maybe capture an objective out from under them ever without having to kill it. Oh wait, Hunters is probably just gone, right? So never mind. Yeah, Hunters is gone. So now this is fighting against one drop, in other words. 60 grots. Dude, 60 stabbas. 60 stabbas. Hey, how many do you have? How many you got on that objective there? 180. Oh, 180? Alright, let me count here. Well, I got 6 Ogre Gluttons, and, they each count as 2 because I have a battle trait that, no, yeah, I think your 180 wins. Anyway, plus there are 12 new battle plans, 8 fresh battle tactics, and 6 Gillette-focused grand stratagems, which invite you to construct new armies to find inventive ways to do battle, as well as a new spell for any and all wizards fighting in Gillette. With rules for exploding Realmstone caches, that must be claimed as objectives, vast tunnel networks to ambush opponents through, and scuttling horrors guarding valuable caches. General's Handbook offers a fresh crop of strategic conundrums to solve using the only language that makes sense in the mortal realms. War. Damn. And then we got fucking... This is the slap fight of the century. Arcanaut Company versus Acolytes. Get your sleeping bags. This one might take a while. Spiralbound for ease of use. Yeah, this is actually cool. I mentioned this last time, but good work on that. And also contains the core rules for Age of Sigmar, up-to-date rules for universal endless spells. Can we have new rules for endless spells to make them exist? Maybe new points values for them even. Anyway. Plus tokens for tracking objectives in your current battle tactic. It's bundled with a 34-page pitch battle profiles book. Create opportunities, blah, blah, blah. Alright, cool. Time for a recap. I wanted to read it all, and now we think about it. Okay. So, Gelatin Veterans is essentially Battle Line. I am going to assume this includes Battle Line if. So almost everything anyone ever uses. I wouldn't say almost everything. That might be too sweeping. But you could assume that people are going to, you know, play more of this, right? Gorgrunta will be bounty hunting big time. Do those rules still take effect? Are we still in the Prime Hunters, like, balance update, or are they getting rid of that with the new GHB? I wonder. Ahem. Ardboys were always good. It was just Gorgruntas are a must-take. Yeah, they were just outshined. That's all. Same with Brutes, really. Under 4 wounds and not a mount? No. It's not under 4 wounds. It's 4 or less. So it includes 4 wounds. Ogres are here. Gorgruntas have mounts? Yeah, I know. Pimp Daddy. I mean, true, and thanks for the first-time comment. Yeah, it's 4 and below. Why are people talking about Gorgruntas? Yeah, the last person was asking if Ardboys are good now, and then someone said they were always good, it's just that Gorgruntas were always better. And so this was like a historical take, and I'm like, yeah, Gorgruntas, aside from maybe first edition, were kind of, or second, at least in third, Gorgruntas have just always been better than Ardboys. I wasn't saying that Gorgruntas count as gelatins or anything like that. I was just saying that they're really good and better. They do have 5 wounds though, and also they are mounted. So there's two reasons why they're not gelatins. I wasn't saying they were gelatins. If I did, I misspoke. Yeah, they're 5 wounds. You might be thinking that one of them could be on 7 wounds if they were like a... I think there was an old battalion that let you have like a brute boss or something like that, and you give him bonus wound, like 2 bonus wounds or something in an ancient battalion, but that's something else. Proving Grounds is cool. Proving Grounds essentially forces people to play gelatins even if they didn't really want to, I think. Maybe. Or at least it obliges you to. And that just means diversity, a little bit. At least right away. Bonds of Battle I love this rule. I wish, I'm happy that they're trying this out. This is sort of like a beta test for not having to measure in melee. I hope they keep going for it. Honestly, 4th edition Age of Sigmar, I'm kind of hoping we don't have to measure ranges of melee with a little tape measure or anything. I hope it's just 2 ranks or something like that. 3 ranks if you have, like, pikes or something. Just to, honestly, speed up a lot of the gameplay. Get that time down for the average game. Pile-in and measuring melee ranges is one of the big time wasters of the whole game. Or 2 of, I should say, since I mentioned 2 things. See all these spears, they're swords now? Yeah, pretty much. And I, for one, am completely fine with that. I hope everyone continues to be fine with that in the game. Because why not? I mean, spears don't cost different than swords, and just say what they are. Really cool. Yeah, I also think a courtesan element of 3rd has been trimming down game time, but then they accidentally gave you too many choices with battle tactics, and it lengthened the game again. It kind of gave you back everything they took away. But I feel like that's overall, like, always something they're going to really care about, right? Faster games is something to really have as somewhat of a goal, like when you're redesigning, well, not redesigning the game, but like updating it, you know? Getting rid of weapon ranges also gets rid of a layer of tactics in the game as well. True, it does. You will get those times where, you know, you don't pile in a certain distance because you can reach 2 inches and fight, you know, and you don't want them to be able to pile all the way in. It does remove some tactics, right? If the whole game got rid of that. I'm just saying that that's completely fair. A fair trade that I would make easily. All tactics aren't good tactics, and some tactics are too costly. Like, you get less than you get out of it, I think. So, the goal isn't just have as many tactics as possible or something like that. I think a little more deference is in order. Like, there's a lot of tactics involving staying wholly within an 8-inch circle, and another 8-inch circle, and then a third 8-inch circle. There's tons of tactics involved in doing that. I just think doing that's really annoying, and not exactly fun. But then again, that's just me, and I don't play an army like that because I don't like to do that. The Chad telling your opponent what your units are wielding versus the Virgin, what you see is what you get. Yeah, truly that. And the overwhelming... I think I can speak to this, because I've been playing the game since it had points and was doing content and stuff for that long. Although I don't have experience with Games Workshop tournaments as my big asterisk, but overwhelmingly the community doesn't give a single fuck if that dude has a sword or a spear or a mace or a cool axe that you stole from other... Just tell me what the rules are. Tell me what rules you're using, and then make your guy look cool. As long as it's on the right-sized base, we're good. And the fact that Age of Sigmar doesn't itemize out by points a million different, like, war gear options, it means we don't have to be in a straitjacket of what you see is what you get. We're allowed to be more creative, really, with modeling stuff. And I think the axes look cooler, but I'm going to use the rules of this one. Sure. I don't care. Go ahead. If you think those look cooler and you want to use those rules, Rule of Cool wins. Easy. Especially when the game doesn't, like, care one way or another. Let's see. Underwhelming assault, yeah. I think my initial take hasn't changed on this one. It feels like it's not going to be terrifically impactful. On account of it being a roll, it's only really likely if you're fighting one of those 3-man units, like 3 exact Trogs, 3 exact Yetis, 3 exact Annihilators, or something like that, and it's usually like a countercharge they fight last kind of thing. And it is your charge phase, note. Notice that it is your charge phase, not the charge phase, which is important here. Because on your charge phase, you're fighting first anyway because it's your turn, with one guy. Underwhelming assault means that if you are charging 2 units of your opponent on your turn, and one of them happens to be like a 3-man unit or something versus 10 or more models, then you get to fight first with both of your guys instead of just one. So really it's a situational, only on your turn kind of thing. I don't know that it's a big deal. You will be able to use it sometimes, and it'll feel cool when you do. But overall, if anyone was like if anyone was in danger of being concerned, like, oh, this is going to be toxic to play against, probably not. Maybe if you're on 12 annihilators.list or something, first of all, based. Second of all, your opponent might do this a lot. But hey, that's what your 2-up saves after all-out defense are for, right? Hunters of the Heartland going away is really exciting. That's my feelings about it, alright? Good fucking riddance. Go away. Now, caveat. I play Beastclaw Raiders, alright? I'm happy Hunters is gone. Let me use Roar, alright? Give me that Roar, give me that Stomp. Downside, I play Beastclaw Raiders, and I've just read all of these rules. That's the downside. That's the downside. Alright, what else are we going to talk about again? Oh yeah, Expert Conquistadors. Gelatin, veterans only. Each model in this battalion counts as 1,000,000. Hey, it's like they have Might Makes Right, except triple. Nice. Nice one. Alright, that's cool. SE Celestial Vindicators have the army-wide no monsters actions rule. Yes, they do, Hades. Yes, they do. I played a Stormcast on TTS list, and I think it ran that because I wanted to be run drop instead of using Hunters. And I thought it was pretty decent. One new battle line. Ooh, okay. There's some dude trust me information. Yeah, a little something for daddy. Anyway, there's some dude trust me stuff here that, so this is like the previous dude trust me. HeyWoah After Dark, huh? M'lady. All battle line infantry under 4 wounds can fight in 2 ranks. Basically true. 1 drop still exists, okay. 1 new battalion gives infantry and battle line less than 5 wounds, counts as 3 for scoring. This turned out to be true. 1 new battalion gives infantry +1 damage versus units in the above battalion. Oh, it's only for the counts as 3 scoring battalion. Okay. Okay. Because +1 damage is a dangerous buff to put on to something, okay? The numbers are incredible. I think people in Discord were like talking about, this must be what all the huge numbers, there are people in Discord that have been posting like spreadsheets of damage calculations and stuff like that, right? The dude clarified it's against all veterans. We have liftoff. Holy shit. We have liftoff. 1 new battalion gives infantry specifically. Did the guy mean troop? There's no such thing as infantry in this game. It's probably unmounted troops. Like the troop quality in the core rules, checking the tapes here. I don't think there's any such actual infantry term in the game, but it probably means like troop choice, I imagine. Yeah, all troops, like it was for hunters. Troop is a non-leader. Yeah. You know what? I guess today is the day of the fucking memes. Let's check the tapes.
And we take a look at the tail of the tape.
Some of them may be involved with exotic stuff, like dark matter.
An ABC News Brief brought to you by Michelob Light Beer. Now from Washington, Sandra Van Oker.
Now from Washington, Sandra Van Oger. Alright. Troops. Unit that is not leader, artillery, or behemoth. Alright. Tapes checked. +1 damage is big. Yes. For all the people in chat saying +1 damage is big, you are correct. Let's just think about that. Let's think about +1 damage. For everybody who's on damage 1, that is literally double damage. This is not particularly crazy math, right? Okay. But remember, it's only against gelatins, though. let's keep that in mind before we go too crazy, right? But man, +1 damage is a huge buff. If you're new to the game, it might feel like +1 damage is the Timmy buff that isn't actually that good, but as it happens, +1 damage is one of the best buffs you can have. Everyone's going to be running jellies, though. I mean, they have to. They do not have a choice, right? You have to play jellies. Well, you almost have to play jellies, because you're just in it, right? Friendly battle line units have a wounds characteristic of 4 or less and do not have a mount. They just get this. Everybody gets this whether you want it or not. And almost every army is playing battle line units that have a wound characteristic of 4 or less. So you're in the Gelatin Veterans Clown Fiesta whether you want to be or not. Very interesting. It's only +1 damage against shit in the other battalion, not all gelatin units. Oh. Okay. We are, please remember, and I will update about this. I will update about this every so often. This is the source.
Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Also do not have mounts. Tension. Apologies. But Blood Knights have mounts, and you can't have mounts with Masters of Splintered Land. So, the source says it's all gelatin units, or it's against all gelatin units, while Lord Joel says the original one is just talking about this other battalion here. I'm going to... I guess we'll talk about it whether it is or isn't, right? Like, we'll address both of them and then figure out what it is when Man Reed's book comes out. If it is only against this particular battalion, then it might be too silver bullet at that point. Unless this battalion becomes truly ubiquitous, which it may or may not. We don't know yet what people will do, you know? But yeah, I don't know if I'm taking a battalion. I don't know if I'm giving up 1 drop on the off chance that my opponent is playing the triple scoring battalion. For the most part. So, if that were the case, then I don't think... Well, it is obviously really good because the bonus is insane. And +1 damage on... +1 damage on, like, Witch Elves that are now fighting in potentially 2 or 3 ranks, right? Depending on if they're Sisters of Slaughter or not. The damage would be insane. But it's really, you know, who knows? What does the article say? The article has, like, a very specific... A lot of the times the article isn't like the most correct. Where does it say that? Bounty hunters specialize in gutting opposing armies. They deal extra damage in melee when targeting the enemy's veterans. Okay, well it says that here. Games Workshop articles have slightly misspoke before, but
Twitch Prime.
They are pretty clear here. Bob the Lob. Hey, thanks for lobbing the Bob. Thanks for lobbing the big prime over here. Appreciate it. Hello, Mr. Woe, he says. Hey, hi. And thanks for the 3 months. Thanks for liking my stuff. I appreciate it. Do Witch Elves need +1 damage to lift 60 Clan Rats or Stabas? No. But they do have Mind Racer fails. You know? If your Clan Rats or your Fungoid Cave Shaman unbinds Mind Razor, then they actually do. Then they do need +1 damage to lift 60 Clan Rats or Stabas. There's actually a bit more I want to talk about this. This is really exciting to me. I didn't think their GHBs would change up the game this much. This is a big change. Let's talk about meta. I know everybody's gonna fall asleep. I'm talking about the meta in the future, but you know, let's consider the ramifications. And I'm not talking about Guilty Gear Strive. New patch nerfs. She's still good, don't worry. Ramlethal. Were monsters dominant in the last season of play? Yes, with an asterisk, right? Monsters were very dominant right away, and then the meta adapted a little bit, but it adapted to monsters, don't forget, right? So even if at the end you're thinking in your head, you're like, oh, SOB sucks now, at the end of, before you saw any of this stuff, right? Before you saw any of this, you're like, SOB is mid, right, at best now. And Beast Claw, the Monster Mash stuff isn't very good. Because everybody is, like, shooting my monsters or whatever, and I got my long strikes, and here's Be'lakor turning off the whatever, right? But that was all a response to monsters in the first place. What's really good against Monster Mash? A million mortal wounds immediately, right? From ideally long range or Alpha Strike. Or stuff like Be'lakor, which just kind of renders it useless for a battle round, maybe even 2 turns, you know? And back in the day, if we had... I'm almost ready to open up MS Paint, but I won't. So, in the timeline of Age of Sigmar, from 1st edition, we got points, right? And then 3rd edition comes out at this one right here. In this area, massive regiments of humongous 30-man squads of dudes were, for the most part, just the best thing to be doing. The entirety of 1st edition, the entirety of 2nd edition. Huge squads of 30 dudes, right? We're just, like, the best. And then 3rd edition comes out, and huge squads get nerfed humongously by reinforcements. They get nerfed humongously by pile-in and coherency rules, stuff like that. Monsters get cool new buffs. The table gets a little smaller. And for once, like, hordes aren't just the best thing to be doing, always. And so if hordes become just the best thing to be doing again, really it's a return to form. We had a brief vacation. We had a little COVID vacation of hordes of humongous dudes not being the best thing in Age of Sigmar for a weekend, right? And now we're back. That's why let's pretend let's pretend this sentence is, like, fully true instead of maybe only kinda true or something like that. And witch elves and stuff like that, they do infinite damage once again. In 1st and 2nd edition, they did infinite damage. In 3rd, after all the big nerfs and everything like that, can't spam command points anymore, stuff like this. Coherency. They only did giga damage. And now they just do infinite damage again. Okay. It's a return to form. I lived through that. That's fine. Infinite damage isn't the best thing to be doing in AOS. It never really was. It's usually power projection and movement that are the best things to be doing. Infinite damage is good, but it's not crazy. Now at that point, it's just like playing chess, right? You just you capture something, they capture something. Whoever fights just kills the other person, right? That's okay. Remember that anything that goes in this battalion cannot be part of the 1-drop or in Warlord. Yes, Femonk, that is true. We have a decision point now. How... it almost seems like Games Workshop is testing us. It's like, how good does something have to be for people not to choose 1-drop and who goes first every game? What if we let you capture like you were Mega Gargants? What if your unit of 20 captures 60 on an objective? Is that good enough not to be 1-drop? What if your bounty hunters do infinite damage against everything that's not essentially cavalry or a monster? What about that? Is that good enough not to be 1-drop now? And I'm kind of interested in seeing what most players will say about that. It probably, like Warlord and Hunters before it, it probably depends a little bit on what your army's trying to do, right? Or is able to do. And then you choose the stuff it's good at and double down at that for the most part. I guess we could do a winners and losers thing, but I think it's too early to tell what the implications of this will be. Bonds of Battle is interesting. All that, like, 1-inch reach, all those huge 50mm base units with 1-inch reach. Looking kind of interesting. Yeah, the world run, no done, or whatever the Sababi meme was back in the day. Alright, enhance. What does this mean for my army? What does this mean for the Beast Claw Raiders? Well, let's look at my units. We got Frost Sabers. These are your chaff. I guess Frost Sabers are kind of helped by this because Frost Sabers die no matter what when they're attacked. So it doesn't matter if my opponent is on the bonus damage thing. And I could put them in something like a big capture, right? They have a 9-inch move. They could maybe steal something from someone, but not really, right? Because, well, it depends on what battalion your opponent is in, right? Battle line monsters are not helped at all by any of this. They were already not particularly great. I don't think anything changes Besides, they can't use all this fun new stuff. Icefall Yetis were our best battle line option. And Icefall Yetis just got some... They just got some juice. Each Yeti is 4 wounds on a 50 mil base, or a 40 mil base, with 1 inch reach. So a unit of 6 Yetis can actually fight now, all at once. And they're on 4s and 3s, -1 Ren 2 damage, and so it could be on 3 damage against troops. Oh, Yeti's looking kind of cool. Yeah, Yetis were the best before, and they get to absorb some of these buffs. Interesting. Also, they have an Activate and Pile in 6, which is always fun. Interesting. And then Mournfang. Oh, gentle Mournfang. Not good before, and they're on 6 wounds and a mount. So the no candy allowed. Not good before, not good now. Hey, looking forward to that new book sometime later this year. Okay. As far as ogres are concerned, Noblars are still looking prime. Actually, Noblars in the triple capture battle, Noblars can come in units of 60. 180. 180 capturing on something, battle shock immune. No, they're not battle line, actually. Now that I think about it, there's no way to make these battle line in ogres. That's too bad. I think they're still a good choice for Gutbusters, unfortunately. However, new book? We'll see. Ogre Gluttons can now finally attack in 2 ranks, which means they get a shitload of attacks, which is cool. They don't have Rend, which is sad and remains sad forever, right? But they're on damage 2, they could be on damage 3. 2 rank fighting. Interesting. Iron Guts are already, new book hopium increasing Noblar meta. Yeah. Bedlelchers. And Gluttons might be cool. Also consider this, if everyone starts playing a bunch of battle line, like let's pretend that the amount of battle line increases. The amount of people playing big units of stuff. At least right away, I think people will. And then once it's clear whether or not that's good, people will shake out however they're going to shake out, right? But if the number of huge clobs of battle line increase, that means the average save characteristic in the game goes down. Perhaps considerably. The save stacking meta, once Mystic Shield was made to be OP and you had something like all-out defense, right? It became about, oh, well, I'm going to choose 1 or 2 monsters that are naturally on a 3-up save and then just stack them so that they stay on a 2-up basically forever. If people are doing that a little less and playing more dudes tend to have worse saves than 3-up starting, obviously, right? And so if the average save characteristic is going down in the game, people without Rend don't feel as worthless. But this is just like this is like, what would you call it? In the aggregate, I guess, right? Like not, once you actually play a game, it's going to hyper depend on what you're playing against, obviously. I know that every time the game changes, people are like, finally, I can play Gluttons again, and then they try, and it's clear that they just can't, and then they move on to something else, but hey, you know what? I am once again asking if it's okay to play Gluttons, and usually the answer is no, but we'll see, someday. Once again, hey, new book, when? 12 Iron Guts attacking is actually insane. Yeah, but so is the point cost for that, right? What is that, 700 points? 800? You're closing in? It's like, that's a lot of points. That being said, they will do a shitload of damage, right? Iron Guts technically count as gelatins. I mean, look at them. A lot of gelatin around the midsections there, Damage 4, 3s and 3s, 3 attacks a model, Rend 1, damage 4 on Iron Guts. Look at the damage. 705, okay, for 12 Iron Guts. Today was a big day for you. You're a Gutbusters player just when you thought your hopium was cranked to the max, and now we get this. Are Glutton stonks up? Yes, but much like real stonks, it's a big guess. We don't know yet, and you haven't made any money until you realize your gains. So yes, the stonks are up, but, I mean, we'll see. We shall see. Yeah, there is a rib cracker every now and then, Grunt 9101. Rib cracker being technically the best buff you have access to in Gutbusters. It does have the downside that you have to target the enemy, which means that, unlike Blood Feast, where you cast Blood Feast on your guy, and then your dudes just, fuck off and charge something, and that's tactically useful, right? Ribcracker has to target an enemy, so your wizard has to be closer to it, but you get the dog pile effect with that one. First of all, -1 rend is arguably a better buff than +1 attacks, although really it's kind of math dependent and what they're on, but you ribcrack some enemy and now everybody who charges them is sick, so I think it's actually pretty balanced, although I prefer Ribcracker for me. I just like rend. You know, Beast of Chaos intensifies. I just don't like it when my opponent has good armor rolls. What can I say? Yeah, and you have, shall we say, big-boned ranges, thick, meaty frames, wide-shouldered spell ranges, 18 inches. I hope we keep that. I hope we keep those big ranges in ogres. As a Lumineth player, the half-inch thing does nothing for you. Well, don't worry. You're not. It's not a nerf, at the moment anyway, right? Because, where is it? Where is it? Here. When a model with a Gelatin Veterans unit makes an attack with a melee weapon, you optionally may choose to target an enemy unit within a half, and then use these rules. So you do not have to. Like, this is your option. So, if you have, impressive length on your units, like wardens, just keep your 3 inches. Your shit's better than this anyway. So you're not you don't have to use it if you already have better. I will say though that it is technically a little bit of a nerf, kind of, in a indirect way, because when you excel at something and everybody else gets a version of that that's a little worse, it does diminish like how much better you are than everyone else, right? So like, for instance, when every monster in the game got capture 5 for 3rd edition core rules, remember when that happened? Every monster got capture 5. It made might makes right for the ogres worse, indirectly, because ours was capture 10 and everyone else used to only capture 1 with their monsters, right? And so we were leaps and bounds ahead. You could like retreat with a Stonehorn and just straight steal an objective from people. But now that everybody's monsters are on 5, if they have, 6 random dudes and a monster on an objective, you can no longer steal it anymore, right? Because now they're on 11. And so it, like, indirectly made Might Makes Right worse, just by giving half of it to everybody else. And then they came out with Mightier Makes Rightier, and they gave 30 to somebody else. But, so there is, it's not just whining. There is a little bit of an indirect nerf when everybody else gets a little bit worse version of your rules, depending. This one less so because it doesn't have to do with directly scoring stuff, and it's optional, but I understand the complaint, or the potential complaint. Having Kurnoth Hunters in the Bounty Hunter Battalion sounds like murder time? Yeah. 3s and 3s, -1, damage 3 against Gelatins, and you're using swords because you no longer, for once, finally. I've been using this meme forever, but scythes have always been the best for Kurnoth Hunters, and they've never not been the best. And I don't understand the logic of people saying that they haven't. Even Sylvaneth players. Maybe there's just something I wasn't noticing about the interaction there, but it always seemed to me that scythes are the best for sure. But, I mean, pick up your swords, brothers. I mean, this is it. Wait, aren't Kurnoth Hunters on 5? Don't you get screwed by this? Hold up. Tape checking. I thought Kurnoth Hunters had 5 wounds. What are you talking about? Kurnoth Hunters getting stuff. Tape checking intensify. I could have sworn they had 5 wounds on a 4-up save. On humongous fucking bases. Kurnoth Hunters. Yeah, 5 wounds. Do not qualify. DNQ. Alright. Not for the Kurnoth, they have 5. Yeah, Salhokunir. You are correct. Also, somebody else, I think, mentioned it in chat. Both of you are right. You get nothing, good day, sir. Although, I mean, new book, right? This weekend, we're going to get a Man Reads book. Next Monday is going to be big, right? All of Skaven and all of Sylvaneth, maybe. If we got a Man Reads book over the weekend, ooh, big news. And we don't, like, know what the bounty hunter requirements are exactly. We're assuming that it's against all Gelatin veterans. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just Gelatin on Gelatin violence, we're not sure. But it's fun to think about. This is actually hype. Oh, bounty hunters are just... If they're just troops, then, stonks, right? If it's just troops, then Kurnoth Hunters are welcome to the party. Very cool. 3s and 3s, -1, 3 damage with what is it? Mortal wounds on 6s or extra hits on 6s? What's the What's the Kurnoth Hunter with swords thing? Because I remember scythes were always the best because they had Rend 2 and they had the extra reach. And you have big base models that only pile in 1 if you want to reroll their saves, and so I always just felt like scythes are better. Mostly because of the reach and the Rend 2. But now, what's the special rule you have? It's something. Oh, 1 more wound in addition? Okay, that's okay. 4 attacks a model, range 2 ranks, 3s and 3s, Rend 1, damage 3, and 6 is proc immortal. Oh, it's wound roll. Maybe put her in Winterleaf. First 6 is to hit, proc an extra hit for the fun one. 4 attacks versus 3 attacks, I believe, with the scythes, yeah. Yeah, Greatsword's looking strongly superior at this point. Only Battle Line veterans get that rule? Yeah, I wonder, surely Battle Line if do. Because that's what it means to be Battle Line if, right? You are Battle Line if something. And so if it is, it seems like you're Battle Line. So it's like Eels probably, Kurnoth Hunters as Battle Line. There's a million Battle Line ifs in the game. Some would say too many, but I won't open that can of worms. Although, amongst those some saying it's me for a long time. Are Hunters Battle Line if now? It could be changing. At the moment, yes. At the moment, no, right? Because you have to play 3 of those little shitty guys when you're building your lists. Yeah, at the moment, no. You're thinking Venari Dawn Riders get a bunch of attacks now against low wound models? Yeah, Venari Dawn Riders become lawnmowers for 1 wound dudes. Because they get a bunch of bonus attacks when they're fighting 1 wound guys, and, well, they're on mounts. I guess, man, we don't know exactly who can be bounty hunters exactly, but it's fun to think about if they could, you know. Venari Dawn Riders really be straight lawnmowers against 1 wound dudes if they manage to get that +1 attack. This has linkable stuff in it, right? It does, okay. Where's my bonus rule? If you charged, add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made at this unit. Sun Metal Lances improve the rank characteristic by 1. Oh yeah, Deadly Furrows, here it is. If you do so in that phase, you can either add 1 to the attack's characteristic of the unit's melee weapons, but it can only target units that have a wound's characteristic of 1 or 2. Oh, I thought it was just 1. It's 1 or 2. Okay. Glad I checked the tapes. Or add 2 to the attack's characteristic, but it can only target units that have a wound's characteristic of 1 and do not have a mount. Oh, okay, that was the thing I was thinking of. So that means 4 Guardian Sword attacks, damage 2, against most gelatin, maybe half of the gelatin stuff. Interesting. It's still restrictive, right? Cavalry might be cool in this edition. Cavalry always has a danger in Age of Sigmar, or it has had a danger. Like, as soon as Cavalry ends up being a little bit better than anything else, there's no reason not to only play that Cavalry in the entire army. Like 3 heroes and then just 30 of whatever the Cavalry is. You know, it happened with Eels, it happened with Zangor and Lighten on Disc, it happened with Gorgruntas, right? And giving your troops something to do that most cavalry can't do is probably the way forward, right? Causing some sort of difference between cavalry and not cavalry in the game via the rules. I think that's really the way to go. Is it confirmed that Bounty Hunters is only buffing melee damage? Yes. They deal extra damage in melee when targeting the enemy's gelatin veterans. So melee only. Unless the article is just straight lying to us, I guess. But they haven't... Games Workshop articles haven't straight lied to us in a while. Well, okay, they do lie when they're clearly using, like, how good this is language, like something that could be considered an opinion, right? They lie constantly with that because that's what advertising is, right? And advertising is just lying that's okay. And we see that all the time. Like, this rule opens up a huge range of tactical ploys. I don't know if it's huge exactly, it's probably just 3, and it replaces some other ones for the thing that they're taking away. So net, about the same maybe, but that's fine, like no big deal. It's been an hour. You've seen it twice. It's been an hour and 34 minutes, and you have seen it twice. I will play it again, on the, you know, every hour on the hour. It's a sponsored stream, after all. You do think Blightlord stonks will go up if they get to be bounty hunters? They have so many attacks. Yeah, isn't it like 5 or 6 per model? PGBLs, or even just Putrad Blight Kings. I don't think I have the... Do I have that book on hand? Do I have the new Nurgle just like chilling? I don't think I do on my computer. Aren't Blight Lords... Oh, I was thinking Blight Kings, pardon me. You're talking about Blight, yeah, you're talking about Puzzle Blight Lords, not Putrid Blight Kings. Yeah, you're talking about the mounted ones. Aren't Blight Lords already pretty good? Yes. The non-mounted dudes are good too, yeah. Who is the biggest, like, amongst the armies you guys play, like, what's the best, what's something that is just nutty with any of these rules? Or gets gruesomely destroyed by these rules and now sucks and used to be good, like something like that. 9 Great Weapon Bulgor. How many wounds did Bulgor have? I thought Bulgor had 5, right? I suppose what we're for this exercise, we're pretending that any troop can be bounty hunters, because that's more fun. It opens up a lot more stuff, right? Add time? Yeah, I pressed it. You didn't notice, because you are subbed. So get owned, I guess. Vanquishers got juiced? Oh, good point. Yeah, what? Vanquishers are the two-handed sword dudes that proc a mortal wound on 6s to hit, right? Vanquishers. Crazy. Aventus Firestrump. Lord Relictor, never the Knight version. Alright, we're still in the hero section. There we go, Vanquishers. 2 wounds, 4 up save, 5-inch move. 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1-1, or maybe 1-2 sometimes. Oh, they don't have a mortal wound proc. I thought they did. I thought Vanquishers had that. We have been very much assured by trustworthy folk that the only limitation to bounty hunters is troops, i.e. units that are not leaders, behemoths, or artillery. Alright, good. Fun. Fun has been detected. They can be mounted too, right? That's fine. Just troop. Alright. Add 1 to the attack characteristic if there are 5 or more. Add 2 if there are 10 or more. So if you're fighting gelatins with 10 or more, your Vanquishers are chilling on 4 attacks, 2 rank fighting, 3s and 3s, 1-2. Yeah, I think Brutes are cool right now as well, Te Barracuda. Brute's U-Messin ability seems pretty good, if people are going to start playing more of this stuff. Brute's big, but you still take Gorhakas for the -2 rend, I think. Yeah, I think so too. You want the rend. You know, yeah, there's... Also, how big of a unit of Brutes are you going to play with, I suppose? That's another question. In 3rd edition, I've played already. Before any of these changes, I've played against a unit of 15 Brutes. It was scary. They were big. Yeah, Hunter Command makes them 4 attacks each. 4s and 3s, -1-2 on Frost Sabers. As someone who's starting KO, these funny rules don't appear to affect me. Not really, although... No, I don't... Well... Yeah, you do have the Buzzsaw guys, right? For melee, but people... Those have been kind of collecting dust since 2nd ed, right? You don't do a lot of melee. And you already have trouble capturing. Actually, it might help you. In a sense. You might be helped in some way, because one of the problems with KO is that you suck at capturing. Like, it's just a flaw. And if your dude's counted for more, that could help with that. But then you have to, like, get out of your plane. Your opponent might be doing stuff like that as well. Also, as KO, you really, really want to outdrop your opponent just tactically and what you're trying to do with KO. You really want to be 1-drop. You don't need to disembark. Well, KO actually do. I don't think they count if they're in the ship, which is kind of why they suck at capturing. Ahem. That being said, sometimes it's not about what direct buffs you receive. It's about what everyone's playing. KO is pretty good at blowing up a whole bunch of troops. Just lots of fire, just lots of shoots, right? I guess we'll have to find out. I wonder. You're a bit afraid the bounty hunters will be too much, considering you have no choice of what GV is. You do have... I mean, technically you do have a choice, depending on what army you're playing, right? You can either lean into the gelatin stuff, or you can, like, kind of avoid it. If you avoid it, though, you're not playing into... Probably a bunch of the battle... what are they called? The battle plans, right? Are probably going to heavily favor, or at least want you to play troops of some sort. So you can't just dodge the whole thing for the most part. Yeah, Nurgle has no choice. Well, no, you could do Apocalypse Now Nurgle. That's actually pretty popular at this moment, exactly. Apocalypse Now Nurgle. Just a bunch of flyers, right? Oh yeah, what are the battle tactics? I heard that Source was spoiling some battle tactics. Is this true? I can't seem to find it in any of the pins on Discord, but I think people were talking about it. Any sauce in HeyWoah disc right now? I know people have been talking about it all morning, but I avoided it. So... Oh, Discord doesn't work? Shit. My robot's dead. No, he's alive. We did it. All battle tactics are replaced. Much harder. No easy wins like Monsters Takeover. Player going second round 3 picks an objective can only be contested by infantry. These seem to be close to correct for the older ones. All battle tactics are replaced. Does this mean your army's battle tactics as well? Are battle tactics just like, you know, they've been making them per army and then now those are gone? Or it's your armies plus the GHB ones, I wonder. I don't think they would come out with army-specific battle tactics and then just say you can't use them immediately the same season that they were, you know, printed them in the book or something like that. Nothing to see here. So, grand strategies. No enemy battle line left alive. Control all objectives wholly outside your territory. You recognize the black circle? Oh, well, shit. I did everything I could do, okay? No enemy units wholly within your territory. More friendly than enemy unit wholly within opponent territory. Have at least 3 gelatin veterans from starting army left alive. That's a lot. And have a gelatin veteran starting army in each quarter of the battle. Okay, so just everywhere. You have spread out everywhere. Your power projection is so insane that not only do you win games because of it, but you can essentially style on your opponent by spreading your power so far that you're in every quadrant of the field, which at that point you're hot dogging. I like grand strategies that involve you doing something, right? So that's cool. Why would 8 exist when 7 exists? Press X to doubt? Okay, well, first of all...
Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Actually, there is a source. It's a source that I cropped out. But the fact that 8 is just 7, except harder, is believable. I believe Games Workshop would make 2 grand strategies that are literally the same, except one is considerably easier to do, and just the same. Superfluous, even. The fact that these are the same, except 7 is just better, it lends authenticity to it, I think. Yeah, it's just crazy enough to be on brand. Anyway, no enemy battle line left alive. I like that. Control all objectives wholly outside your territory. I don't like that. Who knows if that's going to happen. No enemy units wholly within your territory. More friendly than enemy wholly within opponents. These are a little harder. I kind of like that. And then battle tactics. This is the more important stuff, I think. Pick a terrain feature wholly within opponent's territory. Control it at the end of turn. Cool. A terrain feature, you say. That's kind of cool. Pick an enemy unit, kill it with your general by the end of turn. Nice. Okay. This is kind of like Monsters Takeover, but you have to use your general. It's a little harder. It's a little less automatic. And we probably lost the spell that turns one of your heroes into a monster, sadly. And so there's going to be less fun plays around that one. I wonder what the new spell is, though. Pick one enemy gelatin veteran, kill it with a gelatin veteran of your own. Okay, you fight. Yeah, your gelatin veterans fight. Fair. Pick an enemy GV on proving grounds. No more GV on that proving ground. Interesting. So is this like a... Is this just straight up like you don't get points this turn? Like you just point to that? Weird, okay. Pick an objective on the field that you control. Contest it with no GV contesting. Alright, so you essentially blast theirs off of it. Savage Spearhead, but you get +1 point for both units being GV. Destroy enemy unit and control more objectives than opponents this turn. Oh, cool, okay. They made this one harder. I like that. They made it harder to do. Not only do you have to kill something, but also you have to be winning and kill their thing. If you lost a unit or more last turn, kill an enemy unit this turn. Yeah, cool, okay. So there's 2 different destroy enemy ones, but one is if you're losing, maybe if you're losing, you can kill an enemy unit and get some points, and this one is if you're winning, you can kill an enemy unit and get some points. That's cool. I kind of like that. Now let's pick which ones I can do in Beastclaw Raiders with my army as it is right now, unchanged. I can do that. I can definitely do that if my general's alive. A Frostlord general can probably kill whatever, for the most part. Pick one GV, kill it with a GV of your own. Ooh, I'm going to need to change up my army list to be able to do that. Pick an enemy GV. On Proving Grounds, no more GV on that one. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Pick an objective on the field that you control, contest it with no GV contesting it. Okay. Depending on what they mean by this, yes. Or a different other type, yes. Savage Spearhead, but you get bonus points for doing it with GVs. I can do that. I have 3 units of Yetis. All 3 of them can run. Wait, Savage Spearhead is all of them run, right? No, wait, that's something advanced. I forget the names of these. I just remember their effects. What was the name of this shit again? No, it wasn't Aggressive Expansion. It was Spearhead. Oh wait, those are the core rule ones. Ahem. Oh, okay. Savage Spearhead. It's not the run. It's not the run one. Ferocious Advance is what I was thinking of. I'm bad with names. Yeah, this is 2 or more enemy territory. Alright. You get +1 point for both units being gelatin veterans. I might be able to do that. How many units does Boy have again? The Underworld's Warband Hunter Man? Because he comes with Grots and he comes with Frost Saber. Frost Saber could be Battle Line. Grots can't though. No, I don't think I can do it with him. I wouldn't get the bonus point for Savage Spearhead off of that dude. And I think those little grot things are technically part of his. I don't think it's too... yeah, doesn't count. Okay, so he doesn't get bonus points, but he didn't before, so it's sort of like, okay. 4 is broken ranks on a jelly, on an objective? Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, it has to be Yetis. Well, I was playing a lot of the Yetis before, and it seems like I want to play a bunch of Yetis. Still. The Yeti's still the best, maybe. In BCR. You can get the Saber, he's a separate unit. Yes, he is a separate unit, but if he's summoned, he doesn't count as battle line. Or not summoned, but like, when you deploy this, you then also deploy this other thing. And so it's not technically on the army list, so it might not be battle line. I'm not sure how that one turns out. And even then, it's still only 1 GV. We're going to need probably some clarification on this via FAQs or whatever. Like, in my head, I'm thinking, what if you have a bunch of pink horrors and they all die? And now they're blue horrors. Well, blue horrors aren't battle line, and pink horrors were. But depending on how the ability technically works, I can't remember because it's been changed a few times and I never really cared. But it's like, add something to this unit. So if you add something that's not battle line to a unit that is it? What about when all the pinks are gone? Like, we're just going to have to get like an FAQ for that thing. Again. Horrors. Frequently asked horrors. Ahem. What's the breaking news? Sorry you're late. Hey, good meme. Good meme. We just basically finished with all of it. Apologies. What's missing from this is most of these battle tactics require units from your starting army. Ah, yeah, okay. I shouldn't say I only assumed that. I did. But it's nice to get clarification, maybe. Most of their, like, FAQs that they've started adding because of this, it tends to be that stuff you summoned doesn't come with, like, anything cool. Like, things you summon don't count as this or that, and so it makes sense. It's consistent, at least. You think all the horrors are still part of the same keyword and it's tied to keywords? I think it says add it to the unit, right? If it's added to the unit, it seems to me that it would still be battle line, even if all the pinks ended up dying. But, it would probably be confusing for people anyway, and so I just think that's a quick and easy FAQ, just tell us what it is, but probably just works. I think it just works. Oh, you posted the spell in Discord? Let's go. Gaze of Gur. Pick an enemy unit within 12. This is a spell, by the way. Halve the number of models when counting them for objectives. Supposedly that's the realm spell. Is enemy unit within 12, halve them for counting on an objective, which is like killing them, except way the fuck worse. Is it just enemy unit, or is it jellies? I'm assuming it's enemy unit. There's plenty of jelly stuff elsewise. I assume it's rounded up. Stuff like that tends to be. Is that a very good spell? I wonder. Maybe. The problem with that spell is your immediate first thought is, well, why don't you just kill them, though? Like, why not just kill them? Why not cast a spell that helps you just kill those dudes, right? Because then by gum, they might count for 0 on the objective, because they're dead, right? So, that is something to consider. And it means the spell is probably, at best, okay. You know? It's a spell that everybody inherently knows, Rob74. If it's anything like the other one. Because I believe realm spells, as of last one, everybody just knew that spell. On top of whatever else, they happen to know. You have Kragnos and 10 guys on an objective. How many do you count as after you cast that spell? Well, if you cast it on Kragnos, you have 25. Because Kragnos is 30, I believe, and so you halve it, and it's 15. Now, if those 10 guys are expert conquistadors, then those 10 guys also count for 30. And you have 60 on it, and then you cast it on one of the 2 units, and you have 45 left. Or you could charge Kragnos and kill him, and then there's either 10 or 30 left. So you cast it on the one that you're not going to be able to fight, and then you kill the other one, and so on. Like, I think there will be situations to cast it, but it seems just okay. You would probably want to cast a spell that helps you kill the dudes on said objective instead, I think. Or maybe Mystic Shield or some other such like that. Do you halve before they count them as multiples or after? Each model counts as 3. That seems to be immediate. This thing seems to just change their fundamental property. So 10 guys would just be 30. And then if you're halving it, it is 15. I assume that's how it works. Because notice it says each model in this battalion, it doesn't say it counts as 2 more, or like add 2 to the number of each of their... So it doesn't seem to be a math problem, in other words. It seems to just be these are 3. If it was a math problem, then I don't know how Games Workshop handles that. If it handles it mathematically, or you multiply stuff first and then you add any order of operation, gamers in chat, not sure. This changes the game in a big way. This is going to shake up the meta. Stormkeep nerfed indirectly? Yes. But also buffed indirectly, because everything in Stormkeep is going to benefit from all of these rules. Some Gardas Steel Soul fucking Stormkeep army, where you have this Death Star of 5-up Redeemer units that are just chatting out with all these special bonuses and stuff. It hurts some of what they're doing. But also it doesn't, right? You just don't have... You no longer even need to choose this battalion. You kind of get it for free, depending. Like, if it's turn 3 and you're on an objective, you kind of get, like, Expert Conquerors for free, so you don't need Expert Conquerors. You can take something else. I think the way... I don't mean to paint with a wide brush. The way Age of Sigmar players think, I think that almost no one is going to choose Expert Conquerors, and everybody is going to be like, gimme the fucking damage. I think everyone wants the damage. And this thing seems cool, and you might even think there's some deep, faraway voice whispering in your ear, saying like, this is a tactically good joke, and you ignore it. You're like, show me the damage, give me the fucking damage. I think everyone's going bounty hunters or 1-drop. At least right away. But who knows? One of the good things, if you're on Monster Mash, is that bounty hunters are not going to affect you. If your opponent's on bounty hunters, they wasted their time. They essentially wasted their battalion. It does nothing against you, right? If you're on Oops All Fire or Oops All Magmadroths or something like that, Beastclaw Raiders, whatever, and your opponents are chilling on bounty hunters trying to do 1 million damage, they essentially just wasted their battalion. It does nothing. It's kind of like being a Night Haunt player when your opponent made all these sub-faction choices and stuff to get extra rend and everything, and you're just like, well, you wasted your points on that rend. Congratulations, right? So it's not like monsters are just shit on all the time. You get some bonuses because of how other people will be playing, probably. in that they're gonna maybe waste their time with stuff. Zombies don't care about +1 damage. Yeah, that's true. Their damage comes from the mortal wound procs. That is very true. Actual generic. Yeah, zombies can just count. That's fine. Their damage doesn't come from damage anyway. What are those awful things on, like 5s and 5s or something like that? Their damage comes from mortal wound procs, right? So that is a good point. Depending on the unit, you might actually do this and not just chase damage. If you're not 1-drop, then you'll put your melee units in the count as 3 and your ranged units in the increased dam. Yeah, dust off your hands, problem solved. Actually, I would swap those. To be perfectly honest, Hades, I would switch that. I would put your melee units on increased damage and your ranged units on increased capture. Because your melee or your ranged units aren't going to do any damage in combat anyway, and the objective they're chilling on, they might as well count as extra. If someone fights your ranged unit, it's probably dead, and you won't be able to swing back with very much. You want to clear the way with your melee stuff, I think. So it might be the other way around for you, although I guess it depends. You just like the idea of 3x60 grots in Conquerors and being like, I have 540 models on this objective. Yeah. Oh man, Gits rise up with a bad moon shine down on his children one last time. Or maybe for the first time. Also new book maybe. Ooh. So much hopium. Do not overdose. Do not become addicted to the hopium, my brothers. Cool. This is cool. They're changing the game a lot. More than I thought they would do. And a lot of these ideas are, like, interesting. You love the idea of 4 damage iron blasters. Well, please keep in mind that Bounty Hunters is damage in melee. Damage in melee, no ranged. No iron blasties, no bonus damage, shoot'ems. Melee only. No fun allowed for ranged. Mostly because ranged has a history of being a tad problematic when it gets too much damage. I think we can all agree on that. Oh, First Prince Furies? Warlord? Oh, they... Ooh, yeah, all those things just got Battalion recently, didn't they? Oh my. Very interesting. Yeah, there's a Bad Moon on the rise. I'm not gonna play it because DMCA, but, you know, hey. Just imagine the credence, I suppose. Is this non-addictive hopium? It is. Not non-addictive. Stay in control, right? It's bittersweet that it's only 6 months. Yeah, I wonder if this is it time? Is it time to talk about it? Is 6 months too soon? 6 months was not too soon when it was game balance or changing points, right? When the people rose up and, you know, complained about, hey, you know, can we get patches? Essentially, because that's what they were. Points changes and then a war scroll or a rule here or there just for balance. We were like, hey, can you give us some game balance updates like more often? And they're like, okay, and they actually did. How good those balance updates were was very hit or miss, but they did that, so that's cool. If we're getting a GHB that changes the game this abruptly and this sweepingly every 6 months, that's a lot of difference. That's like you start, you know, you're a brand new player. You're like, oh man, what do I play? I better watch the HeyWoah video about every army in 31 minutes, right? And then you choose an army, and you slowly acquire it over the course of a few months, and you're painting stuff, and then finally it's done. And then you have 1 month to play it, and then a new GHB comes out, and everything you bought sucks. Like, oof, I don't know about that. I wonder. Then again, we're not guaranteed that it's a GHB every 6 months. We don't know that. Also, the video's out of date. The video is now out of date. Get owned me, I guess. Because it does say 23-24 season. There's a picture of it here. Oh, it doesn't show the whole thing. But yeah, it says 20... Yeah, here it is. 2022 to 23. Now, it might just mean December or something for 23, but it could be the whole year. I think it is a 6-month cycle, though. Didn't they say that on one of their broadcasts? Didn't they speak the words every 6 months we get a GHB? I'm trying to remember. Someone might have to check the tapes on it, but I can't. That's something I can't research right now. We do know that they told us 6-month cycle at first. Oh, at the Game Fest or whatever it was. Okay. Man, who knew that I would be the one to finally say, man, maybe 6 months is too much, or is too fast, if you're changing the rules of the game this often. Or this sweepingly, rather. We just never knew. We never knew that they would change things this much, I guess. Is this a monkey paw? Is the monkey paw curling, you know? You asked for it. You made your bed, now you have to sleep in it. On Games Workshop side, I'm sure they were more than happy to oblige. They're like, oh, they want more rules more quickly, huh? And in James Workshop's head, the gears start turning. Do you mean I can sell them a GHB twice a year instead of once a year? Give the people what they want, right? I wonder.